if it's a hot mess, then, well, it's a hot mess, and we'll see how things go. You are listening to Chicagoland's finest podcast. The all-new Culture Cast begins now. Welcome back to the all-new Culture Cast. I'm your host, Nick, and with me today is...
Cousin Charles.
Did you forget your name there?
Back again.
Did you forget your name there?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm changing up the intro with no Gorehound being around for a little bit. I'm trying new things that just to test them out there. But anyway, so yeah, welcome back to the all new Culture Cast. We're back again with a brand new edition, and today we're talking about San Diego Comic Con, and I think I mentioned this in passing at the last time we got together, and then earlier this week you texted me like, we got so much to talk about. And I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're going to do. And so there's that. So I guess before we begin, let's get into one of our segments that we usually go. What have you been watching? So,
what have you been watching?
Tell me, what's one of the things you've been watching?
What I've been watching. Shoot, I should always know when the segment comes, and I never am ready for it. What I've been watching. Well, we just finished. Me and Megan just finished season 3 of Stranger Things, so we finally caught up with that. Which, with the whole, so we finished season 3 of Stranger Things, which
thumbs
was
up
pretty good.
thumbs, okay, thumbs. You give it a thumbs up.
I'd say thumbs. I definitely say a thumbs up. Although I will say, after rewatching this past season, I'll be honest, I did completely forgot. Both of us forgot what happened in season 2. We were like, wait, what happened? We had to kind of like refresh ourselves, which I don't know if that tells you enough about season 2, but
well,
it's still good.
Season 2 was also like 3 years ago, but maybe not that long, but it was like forever ago that it's like you forget what happened because it's so long, and you watch it and then you move on and you consume more content and you're like, what? How did that thing go?
Yeah, it's still cast great. The cast great. It's probably one of the better cinematic shows on Netflix, I would say. Carrie Elway's is in this. Carrie Elway's in the season. He's pretty great as this kind of the slimeball mayor.
Yeah, so. I forgot that he was in it until he showed up, and I'm like, oh yeah, he was in it.
Yeah, I had pointed out, I was like, oh look, it's Carrie Elway's. Meg's like, who? It's like,
to say as you wish.
Let's see, as you wish. Yeah, and then she was like, oh, it's that guy. The main biggest gripe with this, with not just this season, but with the entirety of Stranger Things as a concept. Not the 80s thing. 80s thing is fine, even though you can argue that it's been overrated and yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that's kind of really a bummer is the whole gimmick is like, oh, it's going to be a throwback to 80s, movies, stuff like that, like the Goonies and stuff and things like that. Yeah, all the like awesome, where supposed to be awesome monster effects are like this really haphazard CGI. Like it's television CGI. It's not going to be like a Thanos coming down, but still,
I didn't think
it's pretty noticeable and kind of.
I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad. At least this past season, like the big monster, I know it's CGI, but I thought they did a good job to make it look as practical as possible. But...
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad, but just kind of like I feel like it kind of goes against the whole spirit of the show, being like, oh, we're like an 80s movie. Because an 80s movie would have had, a giant rubber monster covered in, like, silicone, like petroleum jelly and stuff. But that's just my minor gripe. Still good. We're also making our way through, it's that time of the year, so we're making our way through the latest season of Handmaid's Tale which is one of those shows that's...
Fun for the whole family.
Yep, it's a whole barrel of laughs. That's honestly one of these. If they ever decide to wrap up that show, I would love to do like a series retrospective because I got a lot of thoughts on that. It's still a good show, but it's very much an aimless show because it's like you know how Game of Thrones ran out of material like only for the past couple seasons. Well, Handmaid's Tale pretty much ran out of material after season 1.
I've never watched Handmaid's Tale. I probably won't watch Handmaid's Tale because I don't have the energy enough to watch it. But I know Jen watches it, and I don't know if Gorehound does. But I'm sure you guys, when that time comes, knock yourself out. I will probably not be on that episode.
Fair enough, but good show just needs a just needs some focus. And then the last things I've been watching that of note that I want to bring up, one was a theater thing I went to, not like high school play theater, like actual the movies, the big picture. And the other one was also they're related. I watched got around to seeing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah.
And then I think like last weekend, Megan and I both saw Spider-Man Far From Home. So we got our Spider-Man binge on. Long story short of the Into the Spider-Verse, it deserved to win Best Animated Feature because it's really that good. Like visually, it's actually pretty amazing, and without being, it's actually like storytelling wise, like there's a lot of it's one of those movies like that's got a lot of fun details, like you notice them. Did you see it?
No, I probably won't see it till it comes on Redbox or something.
It is on Netflix. So
Oh, Well, I thought you were talking about Far From Home.
oh no.
I know we have not watched it. I do want to watch it. We just have not had time to sit down and watch Spider-Verse quite yet. I did see Venom. Does that count?
No, nah.
Well, it should because it was a fantastic movie.
That's gonna be on my list of movies to get around to eventually. No, Far From Home was kind of. I'll be honest. Far From Home was kind of meh. Considering that was supposed to be the big after Endgame, like the next big movie, it was kind of it was okay. Wasn't bad. Mysterio was great. So that whole I won't get into spoilers. That's a different episode, but it was good. I love what they did. I love what they did with that. But as far as a follow up to the biggest movie of the past 10 years, okay.
Okay.
Although it doesn't have the best end credit scene since the first Iron Man, I will probably steal that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people on the internet have probably already made that point, but it actually is a
that I've been spoiled on that one, so I do know the cameo and everything, so that's so that would be interesting.
I'll say this: Marvel knows what the people want. We'll kind of go into that more later when we get to that section of the Comic-Con news. So Marvel knows what the people want and knows how to give it to them.
Okay.
But yeah, that's been what I've been watching. What have you been watching?
Not a whole lot. The only thing I've majorly seen was the other day I needed something on when I was with the two kids, and so HBO had like Halloween 2, like the 1980 sequel, and I've never seen that one. Like the only Halloween movies I've seen have been like all the way through have been the original and then the new one that just came out a couple months ago. And I'm like, all right, it's free, I'll watch it. And midway through, my year-and-a-half-year-old is there and just kind of sitting there watching the TV with me, like, this is probably not the best movie to have on in front of her right now. But
what I was going to say.
I don't know. I thought she was going to play with her like blocks or something, but she's just kind of sitting there. I mean, she doesn't know what's going on, so it's fine. But I gotta say, like that movie. Oh my God, it was boring AF. Nothing happens during it. It's just Michael Myers just wandering around the town. He's Jamie Lee Curtis is like drugged out throughout the entire movie. I'm not making a gag. Like she's sent to the hospital and she's kind of like on like essentially painkillers for the entire movie. So she's like barely in it. Loomis is like just wandering around like a fuddy-duddy, like, where did Michael go? I don't know where he went. I mean, like nothing happens in this film until like the very end when Michael finds his way to the hospital, and which takes 40 minutes to find Laurie in the hospital that's empty for some reason. I mean, like, oh my God, it was like such a boring movie. I'm like,
doesn't it pull kind of like what the Last Jedi did, and it takes place immediately after the events of...
Yeah, so it's the same night, and just later on in the later on in the day, because like at the end of Halloween, Michael disappears. He's like, oh no, go, and so the new movie picks up like
Right.
immediately thereafter. And yeah, it was so boring. It's like clearly you didn't have any more story to say, but you went ahead and tried to tell more of it anyway. So it's like, yeah, that was a
Well, and
decision that you went with. So
well, I was gonna say. Then they kept trying to get more and more of that story for. Well, not three, because three is like its own. Like they were trying to do something
yes,
different, and then the other ones. There's 4 and 5, and then does it go into the Rob Zombie stuff?
there's like
But
no. So the Halloween continuity is so screwed up. The first like two movies tend to be canon for the most part, and then Halloween 3 is the oddball out. 4, 5, and 6 follow up on number 2. Then Halloween 7 ignores 4, 5, and 6. Halloween 8 comes after 7, and then comes the Rob Zombie stuff. And then we go back to the new movie, which ignores all the other sequels except just for number 1. So
right,
don't watch these films beginning to end because you will be confused. Yeah,
you're going to need a pen and paper to keep track of what's going on.
pretty much, yeah. Um, so that's that one there. So yeah. Anyway, Halloween 2, I don't necessarily recommend it because it's so boring. But
but but it's great. But it's great for your It's great for your infant children to watch.
maybe it will put them to sleep. That would be great, wouldn't it?
Well, we'll have to call whoever owns the rights to Halloween 2. Be like, hey, put this on the VHS boxes from now on.
Yeah, there
We'll
you
put your
go.
kids to sleep.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. I'm all for that. So, alrighty. Enough of this. Let's move on to our topic of the day. San Diego Comic Con, 2019. A lot of news came out. I gotta say, of all the news that I heard, I don't have much to say. I really don't. So this might be a cousin Charlie, cousin Charles heavy episode. But the only thing that I really have to comment on was the Star Trek Picard trailer, which I'm a big Star Trek fan. The Picard trailer looks very intriguing. A couple surprises that were showing up in there, such as the return of Mr. Data, even though we thought he had died at the end of the last movie, and the surprise appearance of Seven of Nine from nobody's favorite series, Star Trek Voyager, and which I mean, it's cool they got her back. I'm sure that'd be kind of a fun interaction between her and Picard. But one of those things like you would never expect to see that character again. I will say, it looks like Patrick Stewart, based on the trailer alone, is back into character in Picard. Like you have actors who haven't played a role in many years and just completely forgot how to play it. My biggest example is Bruce Willis as John McClane. Yeah, I think he forgot to play how to play the guy after number 2 personally, but by the time we got to number 4, it's like he's just playing Bruce Willis. But
Yeah,
but like Petru seems to have gotten back into the mindset of Picard. Like I felt like I was watching him again versus like someone trying to, but versus him playing himself playing Picard, if that makes any sense. So
right.
I'm intrigued whenever that
He's
show
a
comes
dude
out.
playing a dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a dude playing a dude.
Yeah,
He thinks he's the other dude.
Yeah, because that was probably yeah. There's a couple things that kind of interest me. There's a couple things that I don't really give care too much about, but there are a few things I did want to kind of bring. They did want to bring up because there was a lot of stuff.
All right, let's do it.
That's what happened.
What's first on your list here?
Let me go through. Let me go through the. I'm kind of going through kind of like I have a list of all the different announcements for like for my one website. So I'm kind of sort of going through that and trying to think of the best ones to sort of bring up. I'll be honest, the Picard one was probably the big thing because I've never really asked you. Have you watched any of the new Star Trek shows that they put on? Like
Yes.
their
Basically, there's only been one so far, Star Trek Discovery.
what's kind of been your thoughts on it?
It's not perfect, but I think it's fine. Like the first season, people were I've talked about this I think on the show before since you've been gone a little bit, but I think the season people were like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, yeah, they were trying to find their legs. I mean, not everything. But it was different. It re-energized the franchise. Like, if they came out with a show that was like a copy of Next Generation, that would have been so boring and taken, like, they don't make TV like that. It's not the way
No.
TV's done. Not saying the Next Generation is a bad show. No, it still holds up, but you can't expect newer audiences to sit down and watch that. Like, that's why I get so to my stomach with the Orville, because it's like a blatant ripoff. That, oh, you throw a dick joke in there and ha ha ha. But I guess they're taking the Orville off network TV now, so it's moving to Hulu. So what does that say?
Uh, I mean, that's a whole different conversation we can go to with all the streaming services.
Right.
Tune in next week.
But it's anyway. I like Discovery. I think the second season improved. The resolution to like the season arc it was a little wonky. It was like they wanted to have this set up for season 3, and they kind of like forced themselves into it, which I think could have been corrected a little bit, but the way they executed it didn't quite stick to landing necessarily. But I think overall it was a strong season. I enjoyed it. It's much more actiony, and even the producers acknowledge it's much more of an action show. But it still is very Star Trek-y. Maybe I feel that maybe people, because this Discovery takes place prior to the original series. Part of me wonders
Right.
if the show was set, and this is trivial, but if the show was set after where the last Next Generation era film TV show took place, like if people would be more accepting of it. But I don't know. The only thing I can think of is this is what it must have been like when the Next Generation first came on the air, and you had the old school fans hating the new stuff, and like, oh,
Right.
this can't be Star Trek without Captain Cook and Mr. Spock. Now we got this stupid robot and a bald guy. Blah, Star Trek sucks. Like, no one hates Star Trek more than Star Trek fans, and I just think the overreaction to the new series. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's better than Voyager. But I don't know. I like it. I mean, I'm entertained by it. There you go.
Okay. I will say I have yet to see, and it'll probably be on my list of many shows this, but I'll get around to it eventually, because I'd be interested to see what they. I don't know. I have yet to watch, so a lot of what I've heard is just from. They're going kind of with the big guns. So okay, new original Star Trek series. Maybe not hooking people the way we want to. Let's bring back one of the best characters. Let's bring back, a fan favorite character, Captain Picard. He's back. Although it definitely since like the first Star Trek reboot movie back in 2012, definitely they've been stealing a little bit from the Star Wars playbook, because I think it looks like this whole setup from the trailer at least, it gave me the impression of Captain Picard is on a ship, but it doesn't feel like a Starfleet ship, because those are, they feel more like military operations, or like, this one feels more kind of, we're a ragtag group. We're on a kind of like a rinky-dink vessel. You know what I mean? Like kind of taking a little bit of a page from like the original trilogy, and Luke, Han, and Leia just riding around the Millennium Falcon. Like, I kind of got that a little bit from the trailer.
Yeah, I guess he's not on a Starfleet ship anymore. He's on like a civilian type ship. I guess I don't know. They want to do something different. They didn't want to do another. Oh, we're going to do another. He's a captain on a starship, and they're going on adventures. Like, how many times can you actually do that? And I don't know if the Picard show is going to be a full series or just a one-off miniseries type thing. But you can't keep doing that and expecting the audiences to be like, oh yeah, I'm going back for more. That's what killed Star Trek back in the early 2000s. So having said that, I do think CBS is getting a little drunk with power. It's like I think
Yeah.
every week they're announcing a new show. Like they have an animated show, they're having a cartoons for kids, they're having a show based on Michelle Yeoh's character from Discovery, and they have the Picard show. It's kind of like go home Star Trek, you're
Uh,
drunk.
well,
It,
it it's um, kind of reminds me because I think it was only like last year or the year before that? It was like Star Trek's 50th anniversary, and there was like barely any kind of sort of fanfare, like in terms of like people like compared to like a Star Wars or something like that. It's like
yes.
it's like CS is like the drunk stepdad who forgot the kid's birthday, and now we're like, oh shit, we gotta get some stuff together and be like, here's a new show, and here's a new show, and there's an animated series. We promise there's gonna be a lot more Star Trek. I am so sorry, I forgot that
Yeah.
that this was the 50th anniversary, people.
Well, that's the thing. Like
Uh,
the year that it came out was 2016, and the same year Star Trek Beyond came out, which is the last theatrical film, and that movie bombed. Like it got like Paramount totally mismanaged the marketing for the film.
yeah,
Like it was a fairly decent. I mean, it was also kind of a mundane film, but like they could have marketed it. They tried to make it like a Guardians sort of like feel to it in its early marketing, which I don't know if that
yeah.
backfired. But then the second trailer was much more in line with what people expect. But it just kind of got buried that summer with a lot of the other big releases like Civil War and
Mm-hmm.
Batman, Superman, and not Justice League, but I
Dawn
think
of Justice.
yeah, the Batman, yeah, the Dawn of Justice, and there was something else that came out. Oh, like Ghostbusters, and like there were like a lot of big
Oh,
movies coming out, and that one just kind of got. It was one of those middling films that just sort of got forgotten about, and which is a shame because they should have been marketing it 'cause 50th anniversary, but they didn't. And
yeah.
CBS didn't have
And it's
anything going on TV wise, and I think because there are a lot of contract negotiations going on, and so I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is.
yeah, but it was good. But like it was really good, which is a shame that again that it kind of got lost in the shuffle. Trying to think of I'm just trying to think of I'm just kind of going through my list of stuff that I have and just kind of things I want to because I mean the big one I kind of want to sort of we'll probably spend a lot of time on is probably all the stuff that was announced for the DC for not DC for Marvel but I did want to kind of mention because I was rewatching a lot of the trailers like before we started this episode just to try to get myself reacclimated with some of the ones that were announced or shown because the one thing I will say, this is a quick aside, and I promise it's related to the conversation. I feel like this is like the first year, like with Comic-Con, where there's always like, there's always like, oh, there was an exclusive trailer that was only showed at Comic-Con, and nobody else, and like you'd have to kind of scour online, and be like somebody's got grainy cell phone footage of it. Really wasn't anything like that, where like people were like talking like, oh, you should have seen this Comic-Con trailer, you know what I mean? Like I know a lot of the DC movies and even Marvel and stuff have had trailers like that where it's like, okay, everybody, don't record this with your cell phone. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
There
think
really wasn't any of that here. A lot of it was,
I,
oh, go ahead.
I think like they stopped doing that because almost immediately they post the big stuff online.
Yeah.
That it's like you could share it and then you could see it there. Like the Picard trailer was posted almost immediately. The sizzle reels or trailers for the CW superhero shows were posted almost immediately. So I think they realized, listen, people are going to get this thing out there. We'd rather it be done how we want to do it versus some crappy version of it.
Which
That's my
makes, I
thought.
mean, it makes sense. Don't, like, it makes total sense to me. But I don't know, it kind of takes off away that sort of, maybe that inherent specialness. I don't know. I don't know if you want to call it that, but something on those lines. The one trailer that I actually did want to mention, you can kind of go into that list of stuff that was announced because there was a lot for a lot of properties that I'm familiar with, some I'm not.
Hmm.
The one thing that I think got the most, I'm gonna use the kids' term, memed over. I don't know if you saw this. The freaking cats. Did you
Oh,
see?
I,
Have you
I
seen
heard
this?
it was weird, but I didn't actually watch it.
Oh, I actually sat down and rewatched it before this recording, and it is bizarre. It is, considering the amount of people that they're putting into this. It looks weird, man. And to be fair, Cats was always kind of one of those shows that was always kind of weird. Because you have like people in like this weird cat makeup, but now it's instead of actually putting these Hollywood A-list celebrities and James Corden for some reason in cat makeup. Now they're like these weird CGI. It's like weird CGI stuff, so it just looks bizarre because it's like their faces, but it's on these like uncanny valley cat human hybrid bodies. It's there's a reason people are talking about it in not a good way. But that came out I think the day before I think the show started. I think a lot of people have wrapped it up there, but I just kind of wanted to give a quick mention of if you need some nightmare fuel, just Cats, man. It's just Cats. I'm trying because there's a lot of stuff.
So let's talk briefly. What are your thoughts on the Marvel panel of the upcoming movies that they announced?
Their giant board of here's everything that's here's how we're gonna suck away your money for the next 5 years. Definitely, I've heard I think I'm going to steal a line from someone on YouTube who said Marvel basically did 20 victory laps at the show. More or less, Kevin Feige could have just gone on to the microphone and be like, "I just did a rail of coke. Let's start the show off right." But yeah, no, it's definitely. I will say, because I don't know, all that news came out after I saw Spider. I will give credit to where credit's due. The hype machine behind Marvel works, because I think I saw last Sunday. Yeah, I think it was last Sunday is when I saw Far From Home, and that kind of gave me sort of it was okay. Nothing really kind of ooh, where are they going next or what they're going to do. It was okay. It was an average movie. I probably could have waited to see it on a Redbox or Netflix, but I will say reading all the stuff that they're announcing, it was like, oh my god, yeah, we are drunk. Marvel is now drunk with power. We did all the characters that you kind of knew before. Now we're fully going into more of those details of the really bizarre stuff and the really kind of things that were never really that popular in my opinion, in anybody's opinion. I think we found out a little bit more about the Eternals, which is definitely, I think they're from the way they said it, it kind of sounds like they're doing a little bit of an angle on the Neil Gaiman book, American Gods. You know what I mean?
I know nothing about the Eternals. I have no idea what their thing is, what they're about. I know jack about their story. So you say it's like American Gods, yeah, sure, okay. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
I think essentially, I think the way that they're from what I could be wrong, and maybe I completely misread the news. So I do apologize if there's to the 5 Eternals fans that are listening in the world. But I think, from my understanding, I'm just looking, and I could have, again, I may have just completely misread it. Basically, from the Eternals was hey, I'm Jack Kirby. DC's kicked me off the New Gods, so make my own New Gods with blackjack and hookers. But essentially, very much still the same concept of just space gods out there. But I think they're trying to do an angle where it's these guys are the basis for real world mythology. They're still living, they're still around in the Marvel universe, but they've been kind of a hidden society. Not too dissimilar from Marvel's plans with the Inhumans before Marvel decided they didn't want the Inhumans anymore. So I think that's the one that's of all the properties where I think that's kind of more the one where Marvel's really where I think they're really kind of pushing what they can or can't do. I think this may be it, just because it's kind of very much going into that high concept territory, which is what some of those Jack Kirby stories always were, even whether they were the new gods at DC or even these Eternals. Just kind of high concept storytelling. I'm trying to look and see what else. I'm looking through the article right now.
One of the things, just going back to the Marvel slate in a general sense, it seems like they're trying to reset the board. Like there's no big build up to anything. All these films seem sort of independent of one another. It's like they're starting over, like how they did with the first phase of the Marvel universe with, this we're talking about. Like it's an Iron Man movie, and then a Captain America movie, and then a Hulk, and this, and then they'll all have a team up later on. And supposedly I heard that there's one more film in the Phase 4 that they have not announced, which I don't know if that's true or just internet rumor, which makes me wonder if that's the big we all come together type film. But it does seem like they're kind of starting over where they're like, okay, we had all this big Endgame stuff. Let's go back down small and help build up again, which is probably the right way to do it. Or, I could be wrong. Maybe they're not planning to do any major crossover stuff. Maybe they're going to take a similar approach. Because it's going to be tough to top what they did just with Endgame in terms of size and scope. So I just wonder if they're going to kind of do what the DC movies are kind of doing now with, all right, these all exist in the same world, but you're not going to have as much like build up or crossover that you may have had before. Like this character might pop up in this film, and this one might pop up in this film, but it's not like, all right, Endgame, we're going to have to fight Thanos 2. Thanos' son is coming for revenge, and we got to stop him. I wonder if they're not going to go that route, at least for right now. I mean, I don't know.
It would make, I'll be honest, you're absolutely right. I think it would make the most sense, just because, considering my reaction to the follow-up film to Endgame being Spider-Man, being the Spider-Man sequel, where I was just kind of like, meh, I don't know if you can build up another 10 years of hype for a movie, So I think that it's probably the smart way to do it, to let's do these more standalone movies, because there's not many. There's only I think there's only 2 of the movies that were sequels. I guess you could count because they're also treating the new TV show, the Disney Plus or whatever the hell it is, as kind of being more part of the phase, more so than kind of like before, where they had the the Netflix shows, and then you had the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and those were kind of like, they're part of the phase, kind of, but not really.
We'll see how long. We'll see how long that lasts before that gets
before that kind of
before that goes the way of the Netflix shows. Even like all those shows from like the Hulu shows and the Netflix shows and other ones, they no one cares about them, and they don't have anything to do with this. Like they could sort of fit in if you really tried hard, but since the Endgame with the snap and it takes place 5 years later, it's really tough to make the argument like, oh yeah, that happened, but like they don't, like the Shield is not acknowledging, from what I understand, the snap. So unless you say, oh, it happens before it, yeah, that's the ticket. So it's like they don't care about it.
They don't even want to try.
Yeah, they're not even paying attention to it, and I get it. It's tough to coordinate all that, but it's just we'll see how that all goes. But yeah.
But going back to kind of like the movies that were announced part of this Phase 4, the one that was the one thing that they did because I was actually reading the comics back in like 2013, 2014 pretty consistently. That was right around the time when they introduced ideas of Sam Wilson being Captain America, and more important, and also Jane Foster has now become Thor. And they kind of sort of sat on those ideas. They were kind of, the status quo was in the wild for the comics before everything, of course, goes back to the way that should be. Thor is now Thor again, and Captain America was a Nazi for a little bit, and then they brought it back to regular Captain America, comic book stuff. But so it seems now with their kind of, after they sort of tested those ideas in like the page of the comics, they're finally pulling the trigger and being like, okay, remember those ideas? Remember those things we had a few years back in our funny pages? Well, now we're bringing them to the big screen.
Yeah,
Like,
they
it's
try
kind of
to
weird
adapt the
because
stories.
yeah, but so I don't know. Just see because a lot of the stuff that you see in the movies are like, oh, this has got decade. This character's been around for decades, and this storyline's a great storyline from over 10 years ago. Now, well, we just made up shit a few years back, and now we're putting it on the big screen because we can. Which I don't know.
Yeah,
Which is
it just depends.
which I
mean,
guess is kind of like how you got.
I think part of that has to do with the fact that the guy who made Ragnarok wants to make Thor 4, which actually is, I'm surprised they're making Thor 4 because of all the original people who played the Avengers. Chris Hemsworth seemed like the one that's ready to jump ship at any moment. I I think it's an idea. I don't expect it to be a direct adaptation of the comic book storyline.
Okay.
Like I have a theory because like the first of all, the internet is going nuts. Like, oh no, they're making Thor a woman. How dare women are superhero characters? Um,
Right.
I'm very surprised that they're bringing back Natalie Portman because she like wants nothing to do with the Marvel movies. So
Yeah.
they must like brought like a dump truck full of money to her house. But
Yep.
my guess is, given that there seems to be a bigger emphasis on the multiverse in the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward, like the Doctor Strange movie has it, the Spider-Man movie apparently has something to do with it. My guess is that this version of Thor, the Natalie Portman Thor, is actually an alternate universe Thor who somehow finds her way over here, or maybe Thor finds his way over there. Who knows? Um,
Okay.
and like hijinks ensue. I don't see
Hey.
Thor not being Thor. I think they're going to play it up for more laughs, like, "Oh, Jane, you have my hammer. That's so weird because I should have my hammer."
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be any more closer to the comics storyline, which I don't know what the storyline was other than that somehow Jane became Thor. Any more than Thor Ragnarok had anything to do with the Planet Hulk storyline. It took
Right.
inspiration and then did its own complete thing.
Which was probably for the best, like in terms of like mainly because like hey, this is a neat idea, but maybe not enough to flesh out for a whole movie. Um, but I definitely kind of that's kind of I think that'd be kind of an interesting take. We'll have to see when that eventually comes to fruition. Um, yeah, it was one of those things when they announced it, I was like, oh, well, they're finally cashing in this idea. But and then I'm just trying to think, and I think I'm trying to think of because there was a lot of stuff they announced. Again, Marvel is drunk on power. You can do whatever the hell they want until the end of time. I think the last big thing they announced at that hall, which I think a lot of people lost their minds over, was they're doing a Blade. They're bringing Blade back.
Don't care.
Well, it's weird as the only thing of real interest for me was the actor Mahershala Ali. He's pretty much he's kind of turning into Marvel's workhorse because this is his third Marvel character he'll be playing. He was Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. He actually, going back to what we're watching, he actually voiced the Prowler in Into the Spider-Verse, and now he's going to be Blade. So he's got three characters under his belt, which is I don't know.
You know,
Either somebody owed him a favor or something.
you know, it's funny you say that about how he was in Luke Cage. Another more evidence that Marvel does not care at all about the Netflix shows. He was in Luke
Yeah.
Cage. He's already a Marvel character. Yeah, no, those don't count. Who cares? But I don't know. I'm sure he'll be fine as Blade. I don't care. It's interesting. They cast the role, but they don't have a movie set for him for at least a couple of years. It just seems like, well, all right, unless he's going to pop up in someone else's movie, which is always possible. But I will say, of the Marvel films, the Marvel things, the Thor thing caught me off guard, and it sounds the most interesting. The Doctor Strange, I don't know much about the storyline or anything, but I love that title. I wish more comic book movies had crazy titles like that. Because let's face it, comic book movies are weird, and having a title like that just makes it even more goofy. So
Yeah. And then trying to think of anything. Oh, okay. This is one I had trouble finding up stuff, and I don't know if you uh, heard it or if you kind of heard anything, but I'm like 95% sure. Like a couple websites kind of brushed over this, but I think Marvel's planning on doing, again, the fact that Disney now owns half the world. We may be getting a Fantastic Four, an MCU signed, sealed, approval Fantastic Four film at some point.
yeah,
Uh,
they'll
I
do
think it
it.
was,
I mean, it'll be just a matter of time. But they wanna they'll do it. They just probably want to get this. They probably had these plans for Phase 4 kind of in the works for a while, so they don't have room for Fantastic Four yet because they were having to make sure the deal was going to be signed. And now that it is, right, we're going to start working on it. And I'm sure within the next year we'll get some word on it and casting will begin and all that other fun stuff. But I don't care. I so don't care anymore about this, about the Kevin Feige saying, this is what we're going to do. Buy our products, consume more product.
yeah, it is kind of, well, it's one of those things that does take the fun sort of out of whenever you have events like these. I remember when I was younger, they were like, oh, I always used to get really excited, but now I'm a little bit older. I'm like, just a release day for a bunch of trailers. Trailers for things that you must buy and shit like that. So, but I don't know. It's what I don't want to say it's what we got, but it is what it is. But I guess we shall see.
So let me ask
you
you.
got any other closing thought?
No, not on Marvel. I got nothing more to say.
Okay.
Let's change gears. Let's go to the DC front. A lot of announcements with DC TV shows and rumors that have been speculating from there is that with the Crisis story that's coming up. And we talked a little bit about this last week when we had our what do we have?
Endgame.
Our Endgame storyline where something happened. I'm totally blanking at the moment. I'm sorry. I'm out of it. But
It's okay. You're having a senior moment.
yeah, I know it's my old age. But they started announcing guests that are going to be popping up on the show, and the first one being Brandon Routh is apparently reprising his role as Superman, which is amazing. This is what I wanted to hear. Not maybe not this specifically, but that they're bringing back older people older versions of the characters, or older versions of who played them before coming back. And I could not be happier. I'm curious how it's going to work if he's going to share a scene with what's his face with the Legends, or if they'll acknowledge it, or if it'll just be there and they won't say anything. I doubt they'll have any. Maybe. Oh, what's it?
Oh no, I was going to say because they've kind of made over the course of the different CW shows, they've kind of made several jokes of him being Superman, where it was like, I think there was one when he appeared on the Flash. It's like, is it a bird? Is it a plane? I think they did that once, and I think they also during the first big.
Yeah, he said Kara looked like his cousin.
Exactly, which I was like,
Which takes on a creepy component, because if you remember, in that scene, he's standing next to Felicity, and Felicity's like, she looks just like me, and he's like, yeah, it kind of looks like my cousin. Which, if you think about it, Felicity and him had a relationship. Which, what does that say about Ray? But it's best not to dwell on such things.
Don't think about it too hard. But the other thing I think they may do for Brandon Routh as Superman is some iteration of him being like the Kingdom Come Superman, because he wore the shirt that had that specific.
Yeah.
And I think I saw something on Twitter where Alex Ross actually drew Routh as kind of looking like as if he was that version of Superman. It's just kind of a sketch, but it's not like a Photoshop thing or anything like that. But
right. I'm curious
kind of
I wonder if it's going to be a case of, for rights issues, like, oh yeah, this is Brandon Routh as Superman, but we may not actually be that version of Superman. Like, it's like, because I don't think they'll be like, hey, remember that time I stopped Lex Luthor from destroying Metropolis with his kryptonite island? Like, they're not mentioning that at all. But yeah, I'm
They'll,
excited how
they'll
that.
probably
I'm very curious. Other announcements that got out is that of all people, Burt Ward is going to show up in the crossover. Rob from the original
yes.
1966 Batman show, although they're being coy on whether or not he's actually playing Robin. I mean, given how Burt Ward is looking these days, I don't think he's going to be able to fill out those tights. But um, I'm,
It'd be amazing to watch him try.
yeah,
Like you have all these like all these like fit actors in like these very kind of like leather suits. They have 90-year-old Burt Ward in like the little spandex.
yeah. I'm curious. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how big the cameo is. I've read online someone saying like, "Oh, I bet he'll just be like, holy something something," and that'll be like the extent of his cameo, and then that'll be it. But I mean, it's curious to see how they're going to do that.
Yes.
And then there's other rumors coming out, and this is yet to be actually confirmed. So who knows? Maybe Tom Welling is going to pop up as his version of Clark Kent Superman. I'd be surprised, but that's
Okay.
neat. And also, and this is the biggest thing I'm most interested in. If they pull this off, I'm like sold. Take my money, even though it's on free TV. Linda
Right.
Carter might be coming back as Wonder Woman, and I'm like,
Okay.
I'm going to be curious how they explain away her aging because in the original show she didn't age. But you know what? Linda Carter still looks amazing, so I won't care if they
No,
don't
because
care.
she was the I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't she? Didn't they Supergirl? Wasn't she like the president?
She was the president,
Like
yes. So
okay,
she has a
yeah. I was
relation.
like, so
She has a relationship with those people there. So I mean, it's not far to believe that she wouldn't be willing to come back and do another role for them. But just as that role, I'm very curious to see who else they might get. I mean, I think this is only the tip of the iceberg. I mean, it
yeah,
hasn't been confirmed, but I would be surprised if I'd be surprised if John Wesley Shipp, I think that's how you say his name, doesn't come back. Flash from the '90s. Um,
right.
rumors
They
say,
already did it once. I mean, I'm sure.
yeah,
Go ahead.
they'll bring him back. Rumor has it that they might try to bring in a character from the DC movies, but I don't see that happening. But I heard like the backup plan is if that doesn't happen, they'll just use clips from the movies. We'll see. But I don't know.
Awkwardly edited in.
Yeah, they'll
Well,
they'll like edit in like Jason Momoa from like Justice League like reacting to something else, and it'll be like in The Simpsons when they were trying to
yeah,
do the um, Radioactive Man movie when
the,
Milhouse went missing.
yes,
Like Jiminy Jillikers, and they
yeah,
like with modern editing techniques you
uh,
can't tell the difference.
yeah.
So
And he's like, "I'm fired, aren't I?"
yeah,
Yes.
with good cause. So I'm curious to see. I'm looking forward to see what other things they'll announce because I feel that they're really shooting for the stars on this one, and yeah, well, I'm curious to see what's going to happen. It's
No, maybe the. I mean, I think for you and me, since the CW superhero shows are kind of like our labors of love, where we have to toil through them, to get to the really good bits.
see, I think I like them
This
more
is kind of
than
like our.
I feel like I like it more than you do. So that might be like I don't complain about the show
I don't.
or
I don't. Like most CW shows, I don't hate it. It's just like because when it's hitting its notes and being kind of that right level of like, it's the same way I feel about with Riverdale, which is but it's like I just want them because I know they can be good. I know they can be not just good. I know they can be great, but just like they do stupid things for stupid reasons, and it just kind of takes away any enjoyment that I have from the show. Like I look at Flash season 1 as like this is like the perfect way of doing this type of storytelling on like for a superhero show on a television budget. And then I look at like the later season of Flash, I'm like, man, we have fallen so far. We used to be, like that was my jam, and then just like progressively, it took itself way too seriously and focused on the wrong aspects. And I don't know, but that's a different conversation. But I mean, I will say this after their adaptation of Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think they should. I don't think they will, but I could easily see them not doing a crossover the next year, just because this is kind of like the big one. Like, I don't know what other storyline you can even attempt to do in a future crossover. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's like the end all be all of crossover storylines. I guess it depends on how they end it. I mean, Arrow's going off this year, so I'm curious to see like the other shows how they'll pick up. I mean, I'm sure Flash will be the big one that will be the parent show, but
Right.
I don't know. I mean, unless they do smaller crossovers, but you know they're going to have something. So maybe I don't know. There's only so many times you could do a major end of world threatening sort of thing, but they've
Well,
been sort of
I
building to
will
this
say,
for a while, so I'm curious to see. Yeah.
how, yeah, and I will say, like, compared to the other crossovers that they've done, the other crossovers that they did were always kind of like generic, like superhero stuff.
Hmm.
Like, the first one was like, oh, it's the Flash versus Arrow, kind of like typical versus movie. Then you had then the follow-up one was like, okay, we're going to fight Vandal Savage, which is a setup for Legends, which really was kind of, I don't want to say random, but just not really adapting anything in particular. Then Alien Invasion one, which was technically based on a DC storyline, but only in name only and just what aliens they were fighting. And then the Crisis on Earth X, I mean, it was basically, hey, well, we can't do a Justice League versus Crime Syndicate story, really. So we're just going to do generic Nazi versions of our heroes. Like, this is the first time they're saying we're adapting this specific story from the comics to the screen. We're not kind of a general comic book idea. This is going to be balls to the wall. We're going full out. So, I'm not sure. I'm sure probably within the next few weeks, months, there'll probably be a trailer or something like that. Because they didn't really show anything in their trailers from Comic-Con, which I think I read somewhere. It's like around this time, that's when they're like in the middle of production, so they don't really have anything to show off. So it was pretty just like a clip show of like their greatest hits from last season, and just a vague sense of where we're going for this year or for the following year. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued. I'm curious to see what other announcements they'll have for crossovers, and if they pull this one off, like their version of it, and they bring in a lot of people from past shows, it's like, well, what the movie shouldn't even try it. I mean, because I shouldn't say that, but I mean, I don't know how the movie would do it without it seeming redundant, but it's too early to actually say that. So, yet I just did. So there you go.
Yeah. So here'd be a fun idea. Here'd be a fun one to do for like to add to the crossover, like a wish list. If they could somehow, they've already got. So I know for the Flash show, they were able to Mark Hamill, because he played the Trickster in the '90s Flash series. So it wouldn't be too far of a stretch if somehow they could get working, the voice of Batman from the animated series, Kevin Conroy, to get him to. I don't think because you had told me there's some sort of weird rights issue where they can't really use Batman, but if they get him to like play some character,
yeah,
but have him basically.
I don't know. It is a really weird rights issue. I don't know if that's sort of been resolved or they're going to help work and resolve it. I don't know how they'll do that per se. Here's the thing about Mark Hamill. The reason they brought him in is because he also played the Trickster on the '90s Flash show. So it was more about him reprising that role as opposed to him being the voice of the Joker. But yes, I would love for it if they bring in a Batman actor, because I think the only Batman actor that they'd be able to afford would be Kevin Conroy, who voiced numerous incarnations of Batman in cartoons. Like, they ain't getting Affleck, that's for sure.
No, they could probably afford Val Kilmer. I don't know what he's
Even
up to
that
these
probably
days,
not. Oh yeah, Val Kilmer. He's busy making. He was busy cameoing in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, which was a trailer released over Comic-Con weekend, which looks god awful, and Jay and Silent Bob look old AF. Like,
Yep.
Jay has not aged well at all. And like, I'm seeing this movie, I'm seeing the trailer, I'm just seeing the antics they're doing. I'm like, oh, this just looks terrible. Kevin Smith, you had such promise one time, but now it's like just Down the dump.
down the tubes. Uh, no, but I mean, he's still out there. He's still making movies.
Oh, I know,
I
but
mean,
ugh,
did you ever see Tusk?
no, I haven't.
Don't.
I saw what do you call it? The one that was right before Tusk.
Uh,
The Yoga Hosers, and that was awful enough. So I choose not to see anything else.
yeah. So yeah, you're. Yeah. So you're not. I was gonna say you're not missing much, but
I
yeah,
mean,
because that was kind of like a weird. Because they were kind of. Because I know like they did a quick. I don't think I've ever seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. But that was kind of like making fun of the Hollywood machine, and now they're trying to be like, well, we're doing this now with all the movie reboots, which
like I don't
I don't know.
like I don't know if they're trying to be ironic, but like the story for like based on the trailer looks exactly like the story for the original Jay and Silent Bob. Like oh, we're going to go to Hollywood to stop this movie from happening. It's like, oh my
Right,
god. Maybe they're being ironic. It's like, oh, it's the same thing over again, which is possible, but still, it's like, oh,
right, but I get the joke, but just because I get the joke doesn't necessarily mean it's
good.
you know, yeah, it's like we get it, you know. It's unfortunately the reality that we live in when it comes to the things that we like.
Mm,
Um, but yeah,
yeah, that movie's
but
going to be
that's kind of
terrible.
my, you know, I mean, you can watch it right after you watch Cats
Yeah,
for worst film of the year. Yeah, give yourself some nightmares tonight with creepy cat-human hybrids.
Cats turns out to be like an award-winning masterpiece.
Yeah,
And what's his name? Kevin Smith wins the Oscar for Jay and Silent Bob.
once again, proving we don't know anything.
We don't. We really don't. We're just two idiots who have nothing better to do with their time that are just babbling on the internet. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I got. Like, I wasn't too wowed by this year's San Diego Comic Con. San Diego. It's a whale's vagina.
Yeah, because I guess there is only so much you can say. But there were a few things I was like, you know, because it's a lot of it's not even for like, okay, this is coming soon. This is stuff that's coming, you know, for the next several years. So it's like, you know, it's like here's all your fun. Here's when we're going to get money from your vaults. It's at this date, this date, this date, and this date. So kind of takes fun out of
Yeah.
it. But
You remember when Comic Con was actually about comics? Neither do they. um,
ding.
So I don't know. That's all I got. Like I wasn't. All this is about. The Comic Con is a big advertising thing, which that's fine if that's what it is now. But it's I don't know. I just usually the announcements are kind of interesting. I took away nothing this year. So
Like nothing. Yeah. Like I think for the most part, maybe just of how many Marvel things they announced, it kind of it got me just sort of raised my eyebrows a bit.
mhm.
But there wasn't. I mean, there was nothing. But there was no like new. Going back to what I was saying, like, you know, where it's like, oh, the exclusive trailer that nobody, you know, that you gotta like bootleg in order to see. There wasn't really like that got, from what I could tell, and from kind of like, I mean, the closest thing that got us excited was all the stuff that they announced for, Christ for the for the Arrowverse Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Right.
Everything.
And even that wasn't a whole lot.
That was just them saying, hey, it is actually happening. He's going to be Superman again, and we got some other surprises up our sleeves. So I guess that's all we can ask for. That's all sometimes.
I guess. I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm burnt out.
Let's wrap up. Let's wrap up this turkey.
Okay. Yeah, this is our San Diego Comic Con takeaways. I guess a lot of things happen. A lot of announcements. Nothing for me. Nothing worth the big hype machine. I mean, it's kind of like here's stuff. We can't tell you what it's about, but we're working on stuff, and then here's this happening. And the Marvel stuff was just kind of underwhelming. I mean, underwhelming but interesting, I guess. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
don't care. I
I think
don't
they.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got. I got nothing. I'm done. Put a fork in me.
I'm All right. Well, let's. Well, do you want me? Shall I lead the
Yeah,
outro?
get us out of here. Get us out of here.
All right. This has been this has been the latest episode of the All New Culture Cast. I'm Cousin Charles.
I'm Nick. I thought you were going there.
Oh, sorry. I forgot what to say next.
You can say whatever you want. I don't care.
We'll
You
see
can
you
do
next
it.
week.
Yeah, okay, that works.
Zippity zoppity. Zippity zoppity.
Zippity zoppity. Is that what passes for humor nowadays?
Yeah.
What was on The Simpsons? Where he's like, when Bart was the I didn't do it. Oh, Whizzle Wuzzle.
Yeah.
Whizzle Wuzzle.
Yeah. One day you're on top of the world. The next day you're the manager of a box factory.
You've been listening to the All New Culture Cast, where every episode is all new. Check out new episodes and our back catalog at allnewculturecast.libsyn.com. We could also be found on iTunes. The All New Culture Cast, a saltwater production, copyright 2019. Thanks for listening. The term douche turd comes to mind.